What up, y'all? How's everyone doing? No, I'm just joking, but I'm not joking about how's everyone doing. I hope everyone is doing well. True fans of this show, those of you. And yeah, just had to hit up some of these coastal towns here, overlooking the coast. Do a little 10K night run. You know what I'm saying? Dressed in all black on black on black. I mean, got to get that exercise in, you know what I'm saying? And, man, I used to be a cross-country dude. I used to run fucking 10 to 12 miles a day. I'm saying that humbly, man. I used to run a lot more. I literally used to run every fucking day. And when I got to the East Coast with the humidity, man, I had smoked cigarettes stupidly when I was in my 20s. Like chain smoked, like it was fucking stupid, man. Don't ever fucking do that. Don't smoke cigarettes. Don't smoke cigarettes. Don't do it. Youngsters out there, here in the multiverse, I'm one Sir Grove. This is C4CW, casting 495 celebrities worldwide. I am the host of this show, and if you are true fans, then we495 most certainly appreciate you. But yeah, man, so then there was a time after I smoked cigarettes regularly, packs of smokes, like in the daytime, like just fucking retarded shit. Pardon my French, but I mean fucking like spastic, rejected, fucking dumb shit that I used to do. I was like, yo, I gotta burn this shit out of my system, man. I gotta fucking become the complete, total, polar opposite of this other guy over here back then in the fucking 1990s. So I started hitting the weights and shit out west, at a buddy's house. He was one of those dudes that had the full-on, like, yard set, like the gangsta shit. He was one of my buddies. I'm not a Crip, never have been. I'm from a Bloods gang. I don't say that to embellish, condone. It's just a matter of historic record. He, on the other hand, was one of my Crip buddies. You see, the neighborhood where I come from, Crips and Bloods and Crips, they worked it out a long time ago. Previous rivals, you know what I'm saying, clicked up, man. And so anyway, we would do these maneuvers where I would go out with some Crip dudes and run ops business, and then there were Crip dudes that would roll with some of my Bloods homies. And I mean, it was like that all throughout the city. Now, not every blue and red got along, but there was a time when things chilled out and cooled out, man, and a lot of people were getting along from different sets and working together, man, to get that fucking almighty greenback dollar bill, y'all. Benjis and dead presidents. So the point is, this Crip dude who I knew, apparently, as it turns out, in the long run, he had a fucking nasty heroin habit. We didn't know at first, but we found out later. You know, when he wasn't showing up for gang meetings and shit. I mean, he would hustle in the streets with us, man, but he was a closet fucking shooter. You know what I'm saying? Tracks on his arms and shit. And I caught him at a heroin house once. And I was like, nigga, for real, this is really you? And that was it. Game over for him doing anything with us. And, but, you know, before we found out about his, heroin addiction, he was in the streets, man, for fucking decades. You know, he's an old school, I wouldn't say legendary, but I'd say definitely West Coast infamous motherfucker. But we did have some good times, man. You know, and we did some crazy, just some shit, that's just fucking out of a movie, crazy, insane shit. And maybe one day in the future I'll explain, but probably not, because that shit can never be discussed openly in public. Classified shit. But you know what I'm saying, man? We did what we had to do to survive on the streets of the West Coast. And he was one of them dudes. He was one of them dudes who he was he's a native Crip dude. So he's a native guy. And he was one of our buddies, man. I mean, look, he did a lot of favors, man. He hooked a lot of people up. I'm not going to sit here and say anything bad about the dude. You know, I wish he wouldn't have got hooked on that junk. He was actually a pretty fucking he was pretty fucking solid. If you needed a gun, he'd give you one. If you needed a kilo of dope, he'd float you one. You know what I'm saying? As long as you could bring the money back. I'm just saying, don't sell drugs. I'm not condoning it, not embellishing it. But I mean, man, he had the Scarface video at home. He had Belly. He had fucking, Menace to Society. I mean, he was one of them dudes on the streets of the West Coast that was riding dirty, had cars parked all around town. You know, I mean, he could tell you who all the informants and snitches were. And I mean, shit, if you needed dope, you could get it from him and his connects, and they would gladly provide it. Like, he would not, well, you know, but he was also one of these niggas. He was a little short dude, stocky. And my point is, he used to be a little guy, like when we were kids. He was like a little dude. And he and this other little dude, they used to fight back and forth. They were both native Crips. And they're actually both from the neighborhood that I'm from, but they stayed on the Crip side of the neighborhood before we all clicked up. And then when everything cooled out, Bloods and Crips started crossing over the lines and hanging and, you know, having like joint picnics, like mutual, like hook up, meet up picnics and shit, cookouts. Anyway, when I'd be off with him and his team, you know, B-Dog, Blood, you know what I'm saying, Pyru, when I'd be off with them, running, you know, around town, grinding, making money and shit, hustling, sun up to sundown, he was one of them niggas that had a weight set, like in his yard. You know what I'm saying? This nigga had a weight set, like some West Coast niggas get out of prison and shit, go to his spot. He's like got some shit cooking on the barbecue grill. You feel me? Plus he's got some fucking bench press shit. And you're like, really, nigga, for real, in your front yard or backyard? Nigga, you got some weights. But, you know, I started to take advantage of the fact that there were weights sitting there. So I'll be drinking my 40 and shit, lifting weights. He's the one who showed me the deck of cards. You put the card down, whatever the number is on the deck, boom, that's the number of push-ups that you do. So he and I, man, we do 2 decks of cards. Literally, knock out 100 push-ups, knock out 100 push-ups, knock out 100 push-ups, do 1,000 fucking push-ups. And, so yeah, man, I was, you know, at some point when I went back to college, I didn't smoke a fucking single cigarette, man, for like, 4 years? Fucking 4 years. And I'd be up in the hills back when I was like a milk drinker and shit. And I would like guzzle some milk and shit, you know? And get out there, man, and I'd just fucking be running, and I have my backpack on, you know, with some equipment in it, you know, whatever. Little tools, you know, gun, knife, fucking, you know, book of matches, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whetstone. I'm just saying, like, and I'd be up in the hills, just out fucking doing, you know, private citizen soldiering on foot. And, yeah, man. So then that was on the West Coast. So then when I was like all in, like, this is what I'm doing now. When I came out, then I was in Chicago. I used to run through Chicago. That was the thing that I used to do. I didn't have a car when I was in Chicago. I had a car back on the West Coast when I was in Chicago. I just walked it. Well, I didn't walk everywhere. I had a relative out there, my younger half brother and shit. And, you know, we'd go to all the different neighborhoods, hustle, do whatever. And, but then I'd be off on my own. You know, I'd be jogging over by Wrigley Field. I'd be downtown, off North Michigan, Lakeshore, you know what I'm saying? Lincoln Park and shit. Bitches would be out throwing frisbees, you know, jogging with the little Daisy Dukes on and shit. Anyway, point is, man, is, that became a lifestyle. That became a fucking lifestyle, man. Just running in the sun. Oh yeah. So then when I came out here to the East Coast, that's when I used to fuck, man. Man, I would just be like, yo, it's time to go sweat. And I just get out, man. That's why when I saw David Goggins' video for the first time, I was mispronouncing his name too, by the way. I fully admit that. At first I had called him Coggins, which is stupid of me because it was late night and I was up just like in the internet world of like YouTube rabbit hole, and I came across David Goggins. And I mean, man, I've never run the distances that man has run. That's on a completely different level of reality. But I love his motivational speeches, man. And also the fact that he served our country and continues to do so in the world in his special way, in his way of inspiring folk, you know, people to get out, man, and to give it their all and then some. So, yeah, as I was saying, man, I found David Goggins' information on YouTube, and someone had said to me, yo, you got to check out this dude, man. He's a Navy SEAL, retired, and he does these motivational speeches. He's an ultra runner and this and that. But in addition to that, man, his story is epic. It's this epic story. This like almost unbelievable, like absolutely surreal story. Like one of the most amazing stories of human triumph of all time. And I was like, okay. So he had me flip on the video, and I started to watch it with him. And he was like, yeah, that's the video. He said, dude, when you get back to your base of operations, yo, check that shit out. Watch the whole fucking thing. So I watched it on Joe Rogan's show. That's the very first interview that I ever saw. Mind-blowing. Mind-bending. Talk about mind over matter, man. So I subscribed on YouTube, and I continue to watch Mr. Goggins, David Goggins, motivational speeches, videos, video clips. Man, I'm clearly not doing anything on his level at all. Like, I mean, man, that dude's running like 500-mile like weekends. Like, I mean, that's just like beast mode unreal type shit. You know what I'm saying? So when I look back at when I was doing like 10, 12 miles a day in the summertime with the fucking East Coast humidity, dude, running 10 to 12 miles a day in East Coast fucking heat, sweating, you know, like a fucking pig, dude, that shit, I know, pigs don't sweat, but the expression, you know what I'm saying? The point is, man, and I'm not, nothing derogatory against police. I'm just saying, like, so for those of you who want to, like, make jokes and shit, because I come from a background.
Watch out, roadworks reported on the road ahead.
International law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, yeah, but man, 10 to 12 miles a day. Man, my buddy from college, he told me he was in the Japanese, so he was in the Japanese military, and he told me they used to run 10 miles every day. For them, it's just like, that's just what they did. They just run 10 miles. Like, they didn't even think about it. And they did it every fucking day, like without fail. Like, that was a routine. That was a drill. That's what they did as part of their regiment. They would run, and he's from Hokkaido. So they would be in the mountains, and they'd be running 10 fucking miles every day without fail. Nothing to them. So the point is, man, got to get that exercise, man. Got to get that workout in. You know what I mean? I'm One Sir Grove. Thanks for tuning in to yet another episode of C4CW, casting 495 celebrities worldwide.